All right, it's time for another episode of the 24th Floor. It's all about high school football today. We're talking about the teams who are starting slow and some of the teams that started from the bottom. You know the rest of that song, right? For more on today's big idea, here's Rich Denson. Rich, take it away.
For the first time since 2015, 10 years, the Arlington Tigers are 3-0. How about them Tigers? Let's roll that big idea. Tigers took care of business against Hamilton this past Friday, 136-6. Their offense got it done in a multitude of ways. Listen to this margin, 136-6. Actually, they beat them 48-0, my bad. But yeah, this margin, 136-6, that's how much Arlington has outscored its opponents over these first three games. Put some respect on the Tigers.
I was about to say, you're about to go to Bama. You're 136 was the score in the game.
48-0.
Bro, let's sign you up right now. Let's introduce today's guest, the man with the plan in Arlington, his first season as the head coach of the Tigers. Now they're off to that 3-0 start. Head coach Jeb Jones in the studio today. Coach, appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
First off, can we all agree that you might have the best hair in high school football in the area?
Yeah. That's a lot of people call me Coach Hair sometimes, so it's kind of a tell for me that everybody knows who I am.
Hey, it's a distinctive look. Can we get right into how proud of you are you of this team right now and what they've been able to do? New system, new coach, new idea, new philosophy, 3-0.
Yeah, I think it's very impressive on our team. Like when I got here in January, one of the big things was trying to get the numbers up. There was 38 kids on the team. To compete at 6A level, you can't have those numbers. So our big thing was coaching staff-wise was getting into the school, trying to get kids to come out and play football, get them excited about football again. And so I think our kids bought in the spring practice through the summer workouts. We've had great turnouts, and now we're up to 130 something kids with the freshman, JV, and varsity team, which is a big turnaround, and their hard work is paying off now, and so that's what I'm just proud of them to buying in the system, especially those seniors. Mm-hmm. They've had 3 years of some struggles, and so letting them have some success their senior season is important, and they're loving it and buying into it, which is awesome.
A big thing is that you talk about buying in is relatability. Mm-hmm. Now, Coach, I noticed. I'm not no young whippersnapper myself.
You're kind of a Thundercat.
But I'm 29 years old, and I noticed you're only a few years older than me. So do you think that kind of plays in the relatability that we can still connect to these kids compared to somebody like Ruth?
Yeah. First of all,
who's in his like 40s and 50s? He's a boomer.
You're definitely going to answer that question. But to put the we in there, first of all, 29, still a Thundercat.
Yeah. At least I'm not an unk. You an unk.
I'm a good-looking unk.
Man. We all good looking on this program.
I think that's it's important. The kids are different than how we grew up in playing football, or any sport really. Our coaches could scream at us and yell at us, and kids are just different. And so I think being able to relate to them is huge for me and our coaching staff. Our coaching staff's pretty young, and so being able to relate to them, have those connections with them. And that's what I tell our kids all the time is like, look, I care about you more than just as a football player. Like if they think that I only care about them, what they can produce on the field, I failed as a coach. And so that's one thing I learned under Coach Crouch at Green Hill, who's he's not much older than me too, and so in his first head coaching job at Green Hill, he had a lot of success. And so seeing him kind of how he handled kids. We title ourselves as player coaches, and so at the end of the day, I want to make sure our kids are having success. I'm not worried about my record as a head coach. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm worried about our kids having success on the football field, and that shows. And kids are willing to kind of go out and do the things that I ask them to do because they know at the end of the day I do care about them and I'm able to relate to them and on and off the field.
I've noticed. So I've been on the field while you're there. I've watched you coach firsthand. Just full disclosure, my son goes to Arlington, but he's only in the 6th grade. But one thing I've noticed is you are very hands-on in the drills, in particular. So I've been around high school football a lot because I am an unk, as we say. And I've seen a lot of coaches that coach from the sideline or coach from the top, but you are hands-on. Do you think that plays a big part in their ability to grasp the concepts?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of that teaching aspect. We're always taught as teachers, like, kids learn in different ways. And so some people learn by listening. Some people learn by, actually doing it themselves or seeing somebody else do that. And so, I played football my entire life growing up. I have a little bit of college experience playing football. And a lot of our coaches on the coaching staff have that. And so I always tell our guys, like, if a kid's not understanding it, go out there and show them what you want to do. So you'll see me, and I'm just a competitor. I love to compete, and so I'll go out there and compete with the quarterbacks. I'll go out there and run routes with the receivers and talk smack to them. And so I think it's just kind of builds those relationships, that connection that we have with the kids. Kids love to compete. Nowadays, kids love to talk trash, and so going out there and doing that, letting the kids know, like, hey, it's okay. Like, it's okay to talk a little trash. We like that, but don't take it past the where it's a penalty. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I learn too. I learn the kids when I'm going out there and able to get hands-on, one-on-one drills and things like that with them, and so it just kind of builds that to where they see that I truly do care about each individual kid and them being successful. And then we try to do everything like it's going to be a Friday night. So in our practices, you've seen it. When we're doing team offense, there's not a coach in the backfield telling them what to do. They have to figure it out, because on Friday nights, our kids are not going to have coaches out there telling them what to do. And so from the very get-go, even in spring, I told our coaches, like, look, when we're in team offense, team defense, don't go out there and move kids around. Let them figure it out, because they're going to have to figure it out on Friday nights. And so throughout spring and summer, that was one of our key points was, hey, I want you to go out there and figure it out on your own. And then we film everything. So we do corrections through film. And so that way we can get a lot of reps in. But then our kids have to figure it out on the fly.
Yeah. Let's go over some names on your program. I jotted them down. And two names that stuck out to me. Obviously, shout out to our guy, former forefather of this program, Caleb Hilliard, on helping me out. First name now I want to talk about, your quarterback, QB1, Rod Lucas. Now, I like that name because I think a hot rod, what I'm saying? And then Lucas, you think of the basketball, John Lucas and stuff like that. And your guy is a standout basketball player, Team Thad guy. So tell me how it was, like, convincing him to move from basketball to football, because a little birdie in my ear said he hasn't played football since 6th grade until becoming the starting quarterback for y'all. So tell me about how that was all like.
So my very first day kind of at Arlington, we had a basketball game. We did like a meet and greet before the game. And so I love sports. So I've actually coached basketball. I've coached softball and baseball, and obviously coached football. But so I was at the basketball game, and I saw him run out of the tunnel and watch him play, and I turned to one of the assistant coaches like, why is he not on the football team? He's 6'3", he's 215, 220, like, why does he not play football? And literally the coach goes, Coach, basketball kid, don't waste your time.
Don't even try.
And I was like, all right, I'm competitive, so that's a challenge. But with Rod, it was literally, there was one game, I think it was the Cordova game, where his leadership showed out as a freshman, and I just talked to him in the cafeteria. I was like, man, like, you as a freshman to show the leadership that you had, man, it's very impressive, like, great job. And I just started building that relationship. Never once talked to him about playing football. And then kind of as we kind of got a little closer, and he started fist bumping me in the hallway and coming up and talking to me, and I said, hey, have you ever thought about playing football? And he's like, yeah, I've thought about it, just never kind of got there. And I was like, man, I'd love to have you, come play football. I was like, man, we'll talk about it after basketball season. I'm not going to try to recruit you during basketball season. Like, I want you to go to state, like, focus on basketball. And then once basketball season ended, I kind of started talking to him, and he came up to me one day and was like, it was him and Nick Anderson, another basketball kid. They're like, hey, we're going to come out.
Another basketball name, Nick Anderson.
Yep, we're going to come out and play football. And I was like, I kind of was like, okay, like, I'll believe when I see it. We went on spring break, and him and Nick showed up that Monday, and they've been with us since. So, just seeing the progress, he was in a quarterback battle with, Jack Tidwell, who's somebody that's also getting a lot of reps at quarterback, and just seeing their competitive edge is huge. But, 6'3", 6'4", 220 as a sophomore. And the thing I like about him is he's just competitive. Like, he's a competitor. It doesn't matter. I mean, he had 7 touchdowns against Hamilton on Friday. And so and so it's one of those things where he leads a team. You do have to deal with some sophomore things, like he can be a little pouty sometimes, and when things don't get his way. But it's kind of that competitive edge. Like, people are competitive and they don't handle loss. They handle loss different ways. And so he's one of those that kind of gets quiet, and so as that relationship building as a coach, you got to know how to get him out of that. We have guys that they get mad at themselves, and we have guys that kind of get quiet and pout a little bit, and so handling that is something as a coach that's important to learn about your kids.
And then, because real quick, Ruben, just merging worlds. So you have your quarterback who played basketball. Then another player on your team is named Jaren Jackson Jr. And no, I'm not talking about the Memphis Grizzlies standout. This is a defensive lineman. He's a standout on the football field.
Yep.
Tell me about him.
Yeah, he's a great get. He actually came in during the summer. He came over, transferred over from FACS, and so we were actually able to do the one-time transfer with him. He kind of came over with that, and so he leads the state of Tennessee in sacks right now. He just has that motor. We didn't know what position he was going to play. He's played a little outside linebacker. He's played a little running back. He's played a little defensive end. So the first couple weeks, it was just kind of figuring out what he fit. We actually started him at outside linebacker, and kind of in space, learning the pass coverages was kind of taking him a little bit of time. So we're like, hey, let's just put his hand in the ground, let him go. He has a high motor, and I think he's found a home pretty well on that defensive line. So those are two big guys coming out, and the Jaren Jackson Jr. If you look him up on Twitter when he first kind of reached out about it, I looked him up and I was like, he's not the basketball player for the Grizzlies. Like, let's see if we can find him.
But if he was,
we would also take him.
I know we got to let you go soon, but real quick, let's talk about this Friday. It's homecoming. It's our game of the week. So talk to us a little bit about everything that's going on this Friday and why people should make sure they're out there to support.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
Yeah, we do have a lot going on. First off, we want to say thank you for coming out and having us be the game of the week. So it is homecoming week. So we have all the festivities. It is also our Make-A-Wish week. So Arlington is very much involved in Make-A-Wish and working with Make-A-Wish. So we actually are going to have a little girl out on Friday, and she's going to be kind of there. She's going to be our team captain. She's going to lead us through the tunnel. I think she's going to do some stuff with the cheer and dance team. She's going to crown all the homecoming court. So it's kind of cool to have that out there. And then obviously ABC 24 game of the week. So we're excited to have y'all out there and watch it. And kind of what you said, we're scoring a bunch of points and we're holding, our defense is playing phenomenal. So we plan on lighting the scoreboard up again if we can. And I'm just proud of our kids and the effort that they put into the team.
Absolutely.
We have a big game next week. So this week we're trying to make sure our kids focus on the week at hand. And we talk about all the time, just our goal is to go 1-0 this week, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we got to
respect on them Tigers.
Yeah, we got to let Coach go. Let's put that full screen up one more time if we can for the game of the week. I'm not sure if we can actually do that right now, with technology.
There we go.
So just so you know, we are there live at 5 and 6 with sports and weather. We'll be talking to Coach and talking to some of the other people who are going to be involved in the Make-A-Wish and try to get everybody the information they need to know. We want everybody to come out and support. If you haven't been to an Arlington game this year, you're missing out on some stuff because they do a lot of stuff during the game. We're talking about music, lights. It's got a whole different feel to it if you've never been to a game. So just trust me on that one. So we'll be out there this Friday. Make sure you come out and join us. Ridgeway at Arlington, our game of the week. Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Man.
Kickoff set for 7 p.m.
I'm going to try to grow my hair.
So I got to notice something. Ruben didn't talk about food this time.
Well, I'm going to get my food. Don't worry.
The thing is, Coach, every time we bring a coach on, he'll always do all the pomp and circumstance, but at the end he'll be like, where's the cooking? And I'm like, bro.
Well, I know what the food's going to be.
Yeah.
I know where to find it.
We got really good food. Yeah, we got really good
what's
food.
the standout food at Arlington?
I'll bring you some.
No, he's not.
He won't. Just so we're clear, I sent him a picture last week of what he wasn't going to get.